Hey guys, and welcome back to TFV. If you clicked on this, you know we're going to be talking about soda pop tonight. We've got about 6 recipes up for review, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, the first recipe that was speaking volumes to me in the search. There's not many soda pop recipes out there. You would think that there's a lot more. Was this one from Carolina Vapin, grape soda pop? Now, I 100% when I found this, I was like, I hope I have everything to mix this up, and I did. Pretty easy recipe to mix up. There was some interesting stuff going on, but let's before we do that, let's read the description here. I love grape soda, so I had to make something that I could vape that was similar. Played around with this one for a while and hit the spot on Welsh grape soda in my opinion. No strange perfume or floral flavors, no dry vape, but not super wet. The grape and the champagne flavors play well together, and the double apple brings it together. I use 2 sweeteners because they are different alone. Together they give me something I like. I may be wrong, but it floats my boat in several of my mixes. Little Sour Wizard, you can leave it off if you are not a sour fan, but it won't be quite the same. I agree with that. Nice shake and vape, better after 1 or 2 days. After a week, still nice and flavorful. I do let it breathe for a few hours after mixing it. Tell me what you think and enjoy. Carolina Vapin, thank you so much for putting this recipe out just right off the bat. I have no idea why this recipe has no rating on it. You know, it's such a easy recipe to mix up. All these flavors are really available everywhere. The only one I think that could be a little bit troublesome is that grape juice, which is a no-fly here in South Africa. But as far as I know, it's pretty much everywhere. Even here in South Africa, I've got it. I love it. I use it in one of my grape recipes as well. It's the shizners. But let's talk about it. The things that I originally thought, damn, I wasn't too sure of is the champagne, with the grape in here. I was like, are you going to give me like a winey or a boozy grape, something like that in this recipe? And I don't know if that is what a Welsh grape soda is, for you, but for me, it certainly doesn't. The champagne over here, I guess, is to give this recipe a little bit of a zing, like effervescence. It lifts the grape up a little bit. I think Inawera grape on its own is quite dry, and the champagne does make it a little bit more wet. I know this recipe is not, it doesn't have Inawera cactus in it, so it's not super wet, but it's also not Inawera grape dry. The double apple used in here, I believe, was used because normal grape juice that you buy off the shelf from the supermarché will have a little bit of pear or apple mixed into it, and it adds to the authenticity. I'm super professional. Authenticity to this juice. So what really works in here is the Sour Wizard. Now, from what I have read, if you don't have FA Sour Wizard, you can also use TFA Sour. They're both just Malik, so just keep that in mind. I have FA Sour Wizard. I used it at 1% and it works 100%. I used both the sweeteners as well. The sweeteners and the sour with the grape, that grape and apple, everything is just extremely well balanced to give you that that slightly sour but a little bit more of a fuller body grape. Something like you would get from like sucking on a fizz pop, or a sucker, a grape sucker. But the champagne and that grape juice together gives this a more soda or liquid vibe. In my opinion, it won't hurt to put a little bit of WS23 in here, but you have to be careful so you don't thin this out and experience this recipe slightly thin, because that's the problem with grapes in general. They're thin, they're bitter, and they can be dry and chalky. This here is a wonderful execution. Carolina Vapin, I'm going to give you right off the bat for this recipe as being a grape soda, probably one of the best grape sodas I have tried out there, a full-on banger. The WS23 and thing that I mentioned in here is a personal choice, and it's an additive, so you can add that on if you want coolness, but the recipe as itself is well balanced. It really blends well, it shakes, and it vapes beautifully. So well done, Carolina Vapin. I'm gonna put my review up now. Cheers, man.
Right, for my two cola recipes or soda pop recipes, I chose two Coca-Cola recipes. Now, basically, when working with Coca-Cola, there are two primary approaches that mixers take. The first is to try and get the definitive Coca-Cola taste. If they want to go all Alfred pudding and just try and make a basic Coca-Cola that is as close to the real thing as possible. The other way is to take an existing cola flavor and to use that as the cola aspect, and then just to add to it to make a flavored Coke, whether that be cherry Coke or vanilla Coke or rum and Coke, brandy and Coke, whatever. I decided to go for the latter. The people who are taking an existing cola flavor and just adding another flavor on top of that to get a flavored Coke. I've never really had very good results using the cola flavors. What I did was I picked out two recipes which possibly are addressing what I've been doing wrong. Both of these flavors use the cola at a much higher level than I normally would, and that might just be the problem. Cola flavors aren't particularly strong, and possibly I've just been using them with too light a touch, and that the cola flavor isn't registering strongly enough. So I was very interested in these two recipes to see if they repair the shortcomings that I've had working with cola flavors. The first one was Vanilla Coke by Sweet Poison King. And as the name suggests, this is just a plain vanilla Coke. Let's just go through the recipe and you'll see it's very simple. The cola base is 5% FA USA Pleasure Cola. The vanilla comes courtesy of 1.5% Inawera Shisha Vanilla, complemented with 1% of FA Marzipan. Then it's sweetened up with 0.4% Cap Super Sweet, and coolant is added in the form of 1% WS23. Now the sweetener and the coolant, I view these as not written in stone. For both sweetener and coolant, I basically add to taste. I went a little bit light on both the sweetener and the coolant. The sweetener because I don't have that sweeter tooth. I prefer my juices to be not that sweet. And the coolant because I found it to be a little bit of a flavor killer, not just in vaping but in real life as well. If you have any beverage that is teeth crackingly cold, you're not going to get a great deal of flavor from it. It does tend to dull the palate a little bit, and that coolness takes away from the nuances in the flavor. So I did put coolant in simply because I think it's a crime against humanity to have warm Coke in anything. So I do like a little bit of coolant in my cola vapes. It's probably the only vaping profile where I will add coolant. Um, and then the sweetener as well, I just take it down a little bit. Now, off the bat, this mix was quite strange for me because what I found straight away is that in order to get the best from this mix, your wicks have to be absolutely saturated. Now, that is a general truism with almost all vapes. You're not going to get great flavor if your wicks are almost dry. But I found it to be particularly the case in this mix, and particularly the case with the FA Cola. Once my wick started to dry out a little bit, I found that Inawera Shisha Vanilla lingered, but the Coke just fell off the cliff. It went from being present when the wicks are saturated to just almost nothing in literally a couple of puffs. So I found that I had to keep dripping and keep those wicks absolutely saturated in order to get this mix where I think the mixer wanted it to be. And where that is a good place. This is a very good vanilla Coke. The Inawera Shisha Vanilla is absolutely the right vanilla for this, not just in vaping, but apparently in real life as well. I can't remember who it was that said it. I think it was Verve or Cocaine or Jerry on the Beginner Blending show, who said that if you want to get a pretty good vanilla Coke and you have standard Coke, just put some Inawera Shisha Vanilla in it and it'll get you pretty darn close to the commercial vanilla Coke. And that's what I found in this. I don't have vanilla Coke that often, but from what I recall of it, this is pretty close to the commercial vanilla Coke. That FA marzipan is helping as well, I think. So it's not only the right vanilla for it, but that marzipan just seems to be rounding that vanilla and helping, maybe bridging with the Shisha vanilla and the FA Cola to give you that rounded, vanilla-infused Coke sensation. It's a very simple mix, but a very pleasant mix. I think that the addition of the vanilla, very often when people go with a flavored Coke, they'll try and go with cherry. Now, for me, FA Cola is a bit ephemeral. It's a bit ethereal. It doesn't really register as a solid vape, and cherry flavors have basically the same problem. So you've got two rather ethereal, bodiless type of vapes, and it doesn't really come together. Whereas that Inawera Shisha Vanilla has a bit more. It's a bit more tangible. It's got a bit more body. It's a bit creamier. So I think it gives that FA Cola something to hang on to, and it forms a base for the vape. So this is pleasing. It's got a bit of body. The flavor's on point. The sweetness is on point. That cola, if you keep the wicks saturated, is coming through enough. I think the vanilla is maybe a little bit too prominent, but in the notes, Sweet Poison Kim said that 5% FA Cola was about as high as you can go with it. And I think that cola is maybe struggling a little bit against that very prominent Inawera Shisha Vanilla. But as I say, if you keep the wick saturated, you do get a good balance there. The cola is registering. The vanilla is very, very prominent. So I would maybe look at possibly dropping the vanilla very slightly just to pull it back to where the balance where I would like it to be. But again, that is palate specific. That's not a criticism of the recipe. It's just my palate. So overall, very solid effort. If you're looking for a vanilla Coke, there's nothing wildly innovative about this. It makes sense, FA Cola and Inawera Shisha Vanilla as the base, but it does work well. It gives the Coke base some solidity in the vape. It's got the right level of sweetness. It's the right type of vanilla. So it's a refreshing and a pretty accurate take on a vanilla Coke. And for that, a vanilla Coke by Sweet Poison Kim gets a tip of the banger from me.
Gotta make sure the beard is right. The hair. Oh, it's a recording. So guys, hi guys. Welcome to another show of bangers. So it's soda pop day, and I chose a recipe that was mixed by Theo, the thefogvlog. This one was done quite some time ago. It's probably his version 1, and let's have a look at the recipe and I'll discuss it further. Missionary grape and strawberry soda. So let's have a look at what his description is. This is my strawberry grape soda mix. I really enjoyed the simple recipe, and after all the mixes I test and compare, I eventually come right back to this one, almost just like a good old missionary. This is a shake and vape. You'll find it start off a bit more grape forward, but then time goes by, you will taste the strawberry coming through. These two fruits just gel well together. I won't call it blending. So it has 5.5% flavorless grape soda, 0.7% Capella jelly candy, 2% TFA strawberry, 1% TFA strawberry ripe, 0.3% Capella super sweet, 2% Capella sweet strawberry, and then 1% WS23. So, missionary. Good name, Theo. I'm sure it raised a few eyebrows why you actually chose that name. And maybe even Nick had a bit of hand in it. Maybe you can tell us, Nick, because yeah, we know. Anyways, so it's a grape strawberry soda. However, if you look at the strawberry base, it's quite solid. It's a 2-2-1, so it's a Capella sweet strawberry at 2, TFA strawberry at 2, and then strawberry ripe at 1. So that is quite a solid strawberry base. That strawberry base can be used for countless of juices, of different fruit juices, etc. So it is a very good base that was used. And then the surprising thing was, when I first saw this recipe, I mixed it some time ago. I loved it. It reminded me of a few commercial type juices, and when I actually told Theo I mixed it up, I mentioned one particular juice called it's a grape ice by Empire Brew, a Malaysian brand. Obviously a very icy, sweet, soury, full-on grape candy type of juice. And I mentioned it to him, and I said, you know what, this thing is pretty close to that particular juice, and I loved it. I've tried most of their juices, and that particular one came into mind. So grape, I thought, look, how is he going to get this right? Because grape is difficult. I've personally tried a few grapes, and it's just been a bit frustrating trying to get the right balance. Grape soda was used, and it was used at 5.5%. Maybe it was used too little. Maybe it was used just right. Maybe it was used too much. It was, after vaping it the second time, it was amazing. It was awesome. It became a full-on candied grape soda. So I thought to myself, how can I really tear down this juice or this recipe in a way where, you know what, I can say, yes, you tried it, you did it, but it's missing this or that, or this one thing or that thing. I can't find anything really, to be honest. I like grape, not as much as I like mango, but a good grape ice juice with a bit of a soda vibe to it is lovely to vape at any time, So the flavor West grape soda really hit the spot. I mean, he didn't need to layer the grape, where most grapes you've got to put a bit of bilberry, a bit of maybe TFA grape juice. This flavor express grape, much more sort of bolder type of grape. This was just 5.5% grape soda, and it's it's amazing. It's basic. It's simple. It's not complicated. There's no crazy layering going on. There's the strawberry base, which really lifts the grape on its own. There's no need to pump the grape up more. I mean, I'm gonna give it another try. It's lovely. On the drop, the trusty noisy cricket, and a lovely set of coils, clean cotton, new cotton. It's boosting the way I say it. And if you look at it, the sweetness is there. I mean, it's really a sweet juice. But come on, if you look at a soda, a good soda, you need that iciness, you need that sweetness. It's there. It needs to be there. The jelly candy just gives it that extra bit of candiness. But I think grape soda on its own sort of feels a bit of candy as well. So I can't tear this recipe down. I want to appeal to Theo to maybe try another version, or maybe I'll even try remix it myself. I've got a few other grapes in mind. Maybe if I had to look at one thing that I would like a little bit more, is a lot more fizziness, maybe a bit of sourness, some lemon Sicily, some TFA sour, just to give it a bit of extra punch, that extra tanginess, I would say. It's a great recipe, guys. Go out, buy the concentrates. It's easy to find. It's available everywhere. It's a full banger. A fist pump to Theo for a really good recipe. And go out and make it, and give us some feedback. And who knows, you might come up with something similar. Might come up with a bit of a remix of your own. Just one more thing. The strawberry is good. It's there. You can taste it. It's not as prominent. It's you're tasting the grape more, but yeah, it's a brilliant one. Good one, Theo. Thanks, guys.
Okay guys, the next recipe I want to chat about is one from Six Strings 952. It's called Pink Pop. This recipe is a cool citrus soda pop with boysenberry and blackcurrant accents. This is something I enjoy. This is something I enjoy in the real life, and I've got a lemonade as well that I've made that I really enjoyed in our layers series. So I was down for this. And here I also read that Six Strings was saying FLV citrus soda is very enjoyable, and I 100% agree with that. So I was down to mix this up. Let's quickly look at the flavor percentages. 0.5% FLV blackcurrant, 0.75% FLV boysenberry, 2% FLV citrus, 3.5% pink fruit, and 1% FLV sweetness. So I'm going to break this up. Okay, let's look at the citrus base, or the citrus soda base with the sweetness. Then let's look at the accents of blackcurrant and boysenberry and what pink fruit brings. So first off, the citrus soda here at 2%. I mean, it's pushed a little bit higher than what I have generally pushed citrus soda, but man, this is so authentic citrus soda. FLV did a smashing job here. Anne Pearson, she obviously realized that, like I did. She pushed it a little bit further, and it really just comes through. So I think citrus soda and the sweetness with a little bit of WS23, banging citrus soda, absolutely. The accents over here is just to bring a little bit more dimension into this mix. Remember, the citrus already sits quite high from a flavor profile. You know, it's a higher note. So you know, you've got a lot going on at the top over here, and you know, it's not that easy to pick out the blackcurrant and the boysenberry. They're berries to me. The pink fruit, I think over here the pink fruit was pushed slightly too high. The mix to me can be a little bit more wet. It's reading slightly drier than what I initially anticipated would, but all in all, this for me is definitely something different. I think the soda base is nailed. I think it's perfect. The pink fruit in here definitely ties the berries together, so I understand where that is going. And the blackcurrant accents and the boysenberry, maybe just to bring a little bit more body and bring a little bit more dimension into this mix, I mean, is well executed. You could potentially add a little bit of just to wetten this up, a little bit of cactus in here, of course. A little bit of WS23 might also just distract you a little bit from those, you know, drier, slightly bitter berries. And this mix will be 100%. So as far as that goes, for Anne, I love you. This is a fantastic mix. This is something completely different, and that's what I like about her. So boom, fist pump for Anne. Thank you so much for this mix, and you know, keep on putting out stuff for us, please.
For my second cola recipe, I went with Clapton Obvious by Method 1, aka Joel, aka Mr. Hardwick's. And this recipe intrigued me right off the bat because Joel wasn't taking any prisoners here. He wasn't going half measures, and you'll see why by the recipe. It's 7% Flavora Cola, 2% FA Lemon Sicily, 4% FA Vanilla Ice Cream, 0.75% Cap Super Sweet, and 0.5% of WS23. Now, even though cola is one of Flavora's weaker flavors, 7% that's pushing the envelope a bit. I mean, the average on ATF is around 4%. So Joel was really pushing this to get the most out of that flavor. It's a flavor that I like, the Flavora Cola. I think it's quite accurate. It doesn't have that fizz that cola has, but no cola flavor does. You just can't get fizz in vaping. At least I can't get it. Then the FA Vanilla Ice Cream at 4% is also pushing it quite high, as is the 2% FA Lemon Sicily. So this is quite a strongly flavored recipe, and as I expected when I tasted it, this is bracing. This is prominent. It smacks your palate hard, but it does it in a really good way. I was quite intrigued because for me, I mean, obviously it's a Coke float, 4% FA Vanilla Ice Cream with 2% FA Lemon Sicily. It's both a Coke float and a Coke with lemon in it, which for me was odd because for me it's one or the other. Either you put lemon in your Coke or you put ice cream in your Coke. But to have both, to have a lemon Coke float was quite new for me. And I'm happy to report, as I was confident it would be because it's Joel, that it works really, really well. There's some magic that's happening here. It might be something to do with the Flavora Cola, but I think it's more likely to be the complementary characteristics of the Lemon Sicily and the FA Vanilla Ice Cream. Generally, I don't do that well with lemon flavored vapes. I pick up that pledge thing very quickly, and the most lemon juices for me either become too acerbic, too acidic, too raw. It's very rare that I find a lemon vape that I really enjoy, and this one just, is a knockout. I think the vanilla ice cream rounds out the lemon. It takes away some of that rawness, that acidity, And similarly, the lemon Sicily, it just moves that vanilla ice cream from being a kind of bland vanilla swirl type of soft serve, fairly dry, quite thick, but otherwise not very. Um, it's a flavour that doesn't really stand out very well, and it just adds that little bit of tartness, that little bit of briskness, that freshness, and the result is a lemon ice cream, sorbet type of vibe that works really nicely and offsets that sweet trademark taste from the Flavoricola, the fairly authentic taste from the Flavoricola. So it's a really pleasing mix. It has body, thanks to the FA vanilla ice cream. It has good flavor. That FA lemon Sicily adds a very nice, creamy, rounded, non-chemical, pleasing sorbet type flavor to the cola. And just overall, the whole thing hangs together really well. I think especially because I kept the cooler back a little bit. It was there, it was chilly, but not brain freeze chilly. And overall, this is a mix that I can see myself making over and over again. I think my search for a cola vape that actually works properly is now over. This is really good. It's a lemon vape, which I can't find very often, and it's a cola vape, which I can't find very often. And Joel has put the two together, and even though the idea of a lemon ice cream Coke float might sound weird, it works really, really well. This is a tasty recipe, and it's something I can vape for extended periods. It's sweet, it's rounded, it's got that lovely Coke aftertaste, that sweetness on your lips, on the back of the palate. So yeah, this is a classy recipe, and a case of using flavors really well, coming up with something slightly different, not just a Coke float, not just a lemon Coke, but a mixture of the two, and it absolutely hits the spot for me. So a very pronounced tip of the banger for me, just shy of a full banger, but you know how really I give those, and this came really close. So top stuff, Joel, and thank you for the recipe.
Okay guys, that brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please smash like if you enjoy soda pop or soda pop recipe from time to time. Also leave comments of your favorite soda pop recipe in the comment section so that people can easily find it when they find and watch this video. Thanks to everybody that's been in this premiere with us chatting, and also thanks to everybody that's watching this on replay. I also want to apologize for just a break of silence from TFV. Just wanted to take a breather. I've been putting out so much content over a long period of time that a little 2-week breather for all of us to just reassess where we're going, what are we going to be doing with this channel was really important for me and also for the team as well. So you can expect the normal routine going on from here. I think the live mixing, collaboration mixing is a really awesome, fun concept, but I think we're going to slow that down. We're going to be doing back to basic flavor reviews, which is fundamental for mixing, and put that content out and also review people's recipes. There is something new coming in. I'll talk about that in some of the shows to come. So yeah, stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching again, guys. Please look in the description of this video for all the channels that I recommend you guys should follow, and cheers, goodbye, bye bye, bye.